Sa totoo lang, I'm a guy that's not really up to traveling. I hate to travel. Were it not for the urgings of the Department of Foreign Affairs and that I have to make the rounds among the Asian countries, I think I still have one, but really it's tiring and I've always avoided, but they say that it's part of my duty. I am glad to be back from my state visits to the Kingdom of Cambodia and the Republic of Singapore. Both visits gave me the opportunity to further strengthen our ties with our key neighbors and partners. In Phnom Penh, I was welcomed by the King Norodom Sihamoni, and in my audience, royal audience with him, I stressed the value of long-standing relations and reaffirmed the resolve to broaden collaboration. In my meeting with the Prime Minister Hun Sen, we recognized the importance of working closely together to address the menace of illegal drugs. We also discussed ways of strengthening cooperation against traditional and emerging transnational crimes. To advance the shared agenda, the Philippines and Cambodia signed an agreement of our police agencies to cooperate on combating these crimes. The Philippines is ready to work with all stakeholders in our region and beyond in order to address threats to the peace, safety, and security of nations. The Philippines and Cambodia have a significant portion of our population working overseas. We therefore resolve to do all that we can to uphold, promote, and protect their rights and interests. We signed an agreement in the area of labor to ensure ready assistance to our nationals, particularly in the situation of distress and in the areas of social unrest. We also noted the growing links between our peoples and the need to strengthen these human bridges of understanding and mutual respect. A recently signed executive program on tourism, cooperation and agreement on sports and cooperation will open new avenues for greater exchanges and interactions within our people. After Cambodia, I proceeded to Singapore, where I met President Tunitan Keng Yam and the Prime Minister Yusen Loh. Singapore is a valued partner with whom we share similar challenges and the same commitment to advance the interest of our countries. As the Philippines' fourth largest trading partner, Singapore stands to benefit from a safer and more secure environment for trade and commerce. Terrorist elements and other radical extremist forces undermine what we have worked hard for so long. The Philippines and Singapore will work closely and effectively to confront this challenge. We will intensify exchanges and coordinate on the best practices of the lessons learned to enhance our capacities to address terrorism, violent extremism, and radicalization. We will also use the resources at our disposal, including modern technology, to rid our maritime areas of threats such as piracy, kidnapping, human trafficking, and gun running. At the same time, we also stress the danger posed on our respective societies by illicit drug trade that is now tearing our social fabric apart and depriving our youth of our countries in the future. Our efforts to combat illegal drugs will be relentless and comprehensive. We will support and assistance of our friends and the Philippines' new budget. We are on track towards realizing our envisioned holistic strategy to effectively address illegal drugs. In both my state visits, I underscored that the Philippines is open for business and that we seek intensive two-way trade investments. We are in a position to welcome investments in key sectors such as private-public partnership, infrastructure, telecommunications, information and technology. Our private sector is now poised to grow and seek new frontiers for Philippine business to thrive beyond our shores. Side by side, I have secured the commitment and businesses of Singapore, our fourth largest trading partner, to sustain their current investments and seek areas of partnership. Meantime, we will work with Cambodia and Singapore bilaterally and in the ASEAN setting in order to achieve common goals of greater peace, progress, and prosperity. I run on a campaign of a clean government. I said before that corruption will have no place in my government. Now that I am president, I reaffirm this commitment. Consistent with this electoral campaign, I have directed the dismissal of the two associate commissioners of the Bureau of Immigration who are now tainted with corruption. They will be held accountable for their actions. They will face the full force of the law. On this and all my promises, I give you my word. As President, I shall work tirelessly to ensure all these promises become a reality. Help me take our country and our people to a better place we all deserve. Maraming salamat po. I can maybe take a few questions. I've been having this headache for 2 days now.
Mr. President.
Maybe it's positional because you have to have a stiff neck when you're talking to somebody. And my schedule was really, I really don't know why you have to do that to me. Every hour on the hour. Really, I started at 1 and I ended up talking to the Filipino community. That's how I traveled from one end of the city to another. I didn't even have the time to. I was planning to buy a sack. I didn't have the time, really. I have used all that. There were only 4, so I hate to use one that's been used already. So I can take a few questions.
We have 5 reporters, Mr. President, and one is from German television. You have one question. Thilo Mitschke. Over here, please.
Yes, sir. Can you just come over so that I can... I slept and I have this air that doesn't want to come out.
Thank you very much. Sorry for my look. By criminalizing drugs and drug use, you go the same way as the United States and Colombia. You fight a war against drugs. But both countries failed. Why do you think you will succeed?
Why
do you think you will succeed? The Philippines...
Succeed?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I've been a prosecutor before. I became a mayor. And the only thing that was really hampering me from reacting to it immediately is that I didn't have the money. I am a president that went in midterm. I am operating half of the budget that was left to me by my predecessor. And the campaign at the sloganeering was bottoms up. And so I am only left with an amount that is only good for operating and maintenance expenses. At the time when it was, there's nothing in the budget which says that this event will happen and that a lot of hundreds of thousands of Filipinos will have already been infected with. I knew that I was the mayor here last year. I knew that it was, then I know now, that it was a very serious problem. But I was very strict, and maybe I am not really into pulling my own chair. But Davao recorded the highest local, the growth rate of Davao is hitting 9. And that is really high for a local unit at this time. And yet we were able to blossom, we flourish. Davao is a little bit safe. You can go around and nobody would know. Chances are you'd go back to your hotel alive, 95%. But when I became president, I started to press everybody. Then, I'm sure you were around when you saw hundreds of thousands infected. I said, government had no money then. I could not get money from one department to another and juggle them because I said before in this forum that would be robbing Peter to pay Paul. So I just have to wait. Were it not for China, a good soldier, as a billionaire, he was the one who built the first rehab center. Good for 10,000 people. You can imagine that. And I had to order the military to open their camps because we do not have that kind of area where we can place them. Recreational facilities and then sports to win them away if it's still possible. But you know, shabu, constant use of shabu, and everybody there on the long-term use have shrunk brains and therefore no longer viable for a rehab. So I really do not know how many of the 4 million already infected are with brains that no longer work. So that's my main, because you have to segregate them. They're all insane, and for all intents and purposes, actually, they're good for insane asylums. The other, which still can be saved, next year we will be building the rehab. Then I'll have the money. As a matter of fact, I scraped the bottom of the government funds. It's year ending, and I ordered the release, well, whatever was there, 1 billion just to distribute it to the hospitals all over the Philippines. And for those who really want to be cured, in the meantime, just stay home, lock the door, do not go out to the streets and hunt again for prey, because if I see you there, I'll pick you up. And I will bring you to Bataan, Zambales rather. Or is it Nueva Ecija? I'm sorry. Fort Magsaysay, that's the biggest military reservation in the country. When I say pick up, you do not pick up, throw him to hell. Pick him up and get him into a forced detention. In the law, it's called involuntary detention. So I can move faster, and there are a lot of also people. China, again, promising another big rehab. So, may I just say this? For all of the created, China is this and that, especially in, it was the time of coming. China has the kindest soul of all. And I understand that we have been sticking out of the Millennium Challenge. Well, good. I welcome it. Actually, in exchange for the 400 million, you think that you can cure the 4 million rather? Simply with these challenges of what? 400 million? China has, China communicated to us. They're giving us 50 billion. So what do I need for America for? They do not look at us kindly. We have this huge problem, and you exacerbate by cutting. No, actually, we do not need it. We can survive without American money. But America, you might also be put on notice. Prepare to leave the Philippines. Prepare for the eventual repeal or the abrogation of the Visiting Forces Agreement. Because if we are a country that's very dangerous, if you think that there's crime there because we execute people, there are so many soldiers. They are the natural enemies of the Moroland. So why don't you just leave and if you think that there is extrajudicial killing here, it's a prevalent one, it's a virulent practice, So why are you here? What is your purpose in this Visiting Forces Agreement? We will never be ready to fight with China. It is you who's egging a fight there. We will never fight with Russia. That's too far away. And besides, we are friends, I said. The cancellation of the 23,000 firearms which we were supposed to get it from you, sailed. One of your senator, smart Alex, said that we should not get it because of the violation of human rights. Then Russia came forth and said, no problem. As I used the word, buy one, take one. China is actually, I'll tell you in. Get you in. China has been communicating with us every day, and I think I'll send the defense secretary. They said the guns are ready. It's here. We want to give it to you. What do you want? You want us to deliver them to you, or you make arrangements with your Navy and get it from us? That's the truth. And I said, China, how much do I owe you? I said, none. We'll donate it to you to help protect your nation and to protect everybody else from the rampaging drugs. So what's new? America loses 40,000. It's not state-sponsored. Do you think, you look at our soldiers, do you think they will obey an illegal order? Foremost among the cardinal rules is that they are not supposed to implement or order illegal. These soldiers, they're just generals. They're the best. Some from the Integris, others from the United States. Most of them come from the Philippine Military Academy. You cannot order them illegal. They would not follow you. They will oust you if you force upon them illegal acts. That's the truth. They just don't know the Philippine setting and the most of the police force. I think the last batch, no more military or mayors, but or military men. But they will not obey me. You ask any soldier that. They will stage a coup d'etat if you do that. You put them on jeopardy. Baka hindi nyo alam yan. The soldiers of the Republic of the Philippines are not stupid. They went to the military academy for years. Every day, it's always the Constitution and the flag. They don't even, cultivate this cult, blind obedience to a leader. So everything is, we are glad that we are freed from proving anything to the United States. We do not need the money. China said they will provide so many, and we'll give you the money. So bye-bye, America, and work on the protocols that will eventually move you out from the Philippines. Tit for tat. If you know this, if you can do this, so do we. It ain't a one-way traffic. If you do not recognize the awesome enormity and the hugeness of the problem of how to treat 4 million addicts, instead of even helping with the medicines at the outset, we just went ahead to shout about human rights. Well, how about the 4 billion human rights? You seem to keep a blind eye on this on human rights. Me, I have a burden of building a nation, continuing with the existence of the nation. And there are 4,000-5,000 dead. And you want to exchange it with what? You don't even know who killed whom and for what. If I were to say now, I violated the human rights, tell me who was the 120th victim. For what reason and what was used? Tanongin ko lang kayo. 5,000? Sino yung pangalan ng ika-5,000 na pinatay? Are you sure they were all killed by the military and the police extrajudicial killing? You guys must be crazy. Look at this. I've read in the briefer, the amnesty officer for the Far East. And he said that Duterte admitted the killing and it will promote impunity. This stupid idiot. Could somebody tell him that he's really stupid and idiot? He said that my admission of killing a crime suspect did not even say criminal. Look at the way how they play with semantics. Ours, son of a bitch, that's son of a bitch. And you choose the word whore to make it more profound and vile. Look at this. These idiots playing. They want to control the world. I did kill. I was only 3 months mayor in 1988. Alam ninyo tagada, you know, all governors know that. They were picking victims right in the middle of the downtown area. Sa Uyang Gurin, dinampot nila yung babae kasama yung boyfriend. They were just into this, there used to be a Betamax. You have to go to an outlet and rent one. They just picked up the woman, brought her to Cotabato. And they detained her for 2 months. One day, they sent the feelers to the family. And she's still alive. She's now a doctor. The woman sent feelers to the parents that they were going to surrender or return the hostage. I don't want to mention the name. Sabi nila in exchange for 2 million. Not to tell the police, but the parents whispered to me. So on that fateful night, they were traveling. I was there with retired police, Telson Stares, and 2 others, because we never expected that they would pass this way, but they would return. It is not done. Usually, if you pass in this area, you pass only once. You do not go back. But the troops were there, surrounding the house. So when we heard somebody inside, he's a brave guy, Lima. He was the one I told, you go there, because he was a shooter. I said, could you take out 3 persons at one time? He said, yes. Okay, you be there, inside the bedroom. And when she said, the birdie is safe. So they went down. And it was covered by the televisions. The networks were just at the background. So when they refused to stop, we saw a carbine pointed at us. We were parked nearby. So the shooting started. And I was holding a 45, but when I saw them coming back to our direction, I grabbed my M16, American made, mind you, to kill criminals, not extrajudicial. There was a firefight. And I said there were about only 3 of us there, so I might have hit them all or none at all. But the fact is I was there and I fired. But it was a pure case of kidnapping. It happened during my first term in 1988. And here comes an idiot, always an idiot. Almost all of them are saying that my admission or that I shot the suspect. They were not suspect. You idiotic. I don't know from where you are. To us that I'm not so suspect. I was in a shootout with criminals and many others in my career of the 23 years. I am a mayor that cannot tolerate oppression on civilians. And many others in small encounters. Another kidnap killing, I was there. It also resulted in a shootout. The family was the wife of a small mall here in the city. So, what's wrong in being, you are pictured to be a killer. So, at least I kill to protect people. I am not here a dictator killing my political opponents to stay in power. And I said that I travel very often. I'm telling you, I hate traveling. For the longest time before I became president, I did not travel. I never went to America. I never went to any place. The last time was, I don't know, when I was a congressman. I cannot stand long hauls. I seem to, I get the jet lag in a very, I might want to, because they are planning again Myanmar. I have to make. But I said I only limit to my fellow ASEANs. If I travel again, it would be Russia. I have to. We're friends with Putin, and he said the last time said, remember Russia? So maybe he wants me to go there to be his guest. So we'll have coffee. So I'll have coffee, then I'll go home. But Russia can be a very important ally. They do not insult people. They do not interfere. And there's now a pending, okay, about the Crimea. There's now a pending vote there whether or not the invasion of Crimea was a violation of human rights. The West again is cooking up something just to pick with it. You know, Crimea, for you know your history, it was part of Russia, Prussia. Originally, it was Khrushchev who gave Crimea away. Go back into your history. Take a few back. It was really a part of Russia. So we are voting no. It was not. We are not joining the United States in voting. We will align ourselves with what is right and correct. That is the independent policy. Where before me, if the United States says dito tayo, dito tayo. We vote here along this line, or we vote here along this line. Now, no more. No more. It you gave me the reason to be. I would like to thank America for doing such nasty thing. You gave us a sense of direction in our lives and the dignity. You're always tying up you do this and you that, you lose. Come on, America. You stayed in my country for 50 years. You made us a colony. You lived on the fat of the land. How dare you say you will cut the assistance and aid? We do not need it. Kayo, you, who owe the Philippines an apology and for all the massacres, especially the Moro of Mindanao. Putang ina kayo. Huwag kayong Kayo yung may utang sa amin. You sat on my land for 50 years. Oppressed us for 50 years. Killed so many Filipinos there. In summer, because one colonel died of your troops, you massacred all the male above 10 were all killed. That is how civilized you are. Do not even go to us. Just ask your Indian neighbors there in the reservation. You hypocrites.